Hi, everybody. It's Mimi from Be Heard, Empower Yourself. And today we're diving deep into the truth behind our food stories with the woman who's walked the walk, talked the talk, and left her large behind. Pun intended.
I left my large behind.
Yeah. So Michelle Petties joins us today to talk transformation, identity, and how rewriting our beliefs can be the first step towards rewriting our lives. Michelle, hi, glad you're here.
I am so excited to be here. I really am. I have been looking forward to this conversation for a while now.
Yeah, probably a
Um,
month because we had to keep changing the date.
yeah.
Well, let's get right into this because you've described your weight journey as you're gaining and losing probably 700 pounds, which some people would think that's staggering. I do not because I have been on that journey myself several times in my life.
hmm
But what finally shifted for you that you stopped that up and
Did I
down,
did I stop the yo-yoing?
that
Um,
dance? Uh-huh.
so there, I got to tell you something, Mimi. I wasn't just battling and struggling with one thing. There were
Mhm.
multiple things, right? Um, Multiple things that, had accumulated, over the years, multiple things that had accumulated in my head, in my thoughts and my beliefs and my emotions, and all of that stuff accumulated on my body. But the shift that you're talking about, there were a couple of things that happened almost really together. I got some clarity, and clarity is a real big word for me, and it's a word that is so important because there's so much information that's swirling around in this space. There's so much confusion. There's so much misinformation, and I was unclear about things that I didn't know I was unclear about.
Mhm.
And I actually talk about this in my TED talk. I don't know if
No,
you had a
not
chance to
yet.
check it out. So I did my TED talk is called A Food Addict's Lesson, and it's all about getting clear for me on what real food is,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of stuff that's pushed on us that we're told is food that is actually not food.
Right,
And
exactly.
to get clear on it is to get clear on the definition of food, what food is, what it isn't, what the definition of food is, and what food does do and what it doesn't do. And so that clarity was the turning point. I realized that I had eaten. I was 60 years old before I won't say I stumbled upon this, but it was revealed to me. I was 60 years old before I ever looked up the definition of food. I had been eating for 60 years and never looked it up in the dictionary.
Never did either.
Right, right. And so not dictionary, I said dictionary. That wasn't really the dictionary, it was Google. I Googled it.
Yeah,
Uh, but when I looked it
a
up, it
dictionary.
said,
That's my granddaughter. She wouldn't know what you're talking
they
about.
don't even know what it is.
Oh,
Kids these days.
never
Uh,
thought you'd say that, right?
right, exactly, exactly. But when I Googled it, it said nutrition, nourishment, energy. That
Mhm.
is all food is.
Yeah,
It is all food is, but we are in this culture, in this society, we are told that food is all these other different things.
of
We're
course.
told that it's culture, that it's love, that it's family, that it's
Yeah,
entertainment, that it's pleasure, that it's salvation, that it's all these things that it is not.
yeah. And I want to tell you a little bit about myself before we go on so that this conversation will really pop. Okay.
Okay, okay.
All right. To me, what I learned when I was 40 something is addiction is an addiction is an addiction. And it doesn't matter what you're addicted to. Okay. And it
Mm-hmm.
started out as men, let's say, turned to alcohol. Okay. Got sober, turned to food. All right. And I gained 50 pounds. Right. Now, I almost died twice getting bariatric surgery. The first,
Ah,
oh yes, the first, that's how much I wanted, to be slim and look like the models and what I thought I should look like. The first time I was 42 and they did the full open you up, cut your stomach, part of your stomach, sew it up. And I lost weight, but then I gained it back. But when I woke up from the surgery, I was intubated.
mm,
That is, if you have never been intubated and don't know that there's a chance and you wake up, it's like cement was poured in your throat.
mm,
So that
mm,
was an awful experience. The second time was 2014. Okay. And I was over 200, you know,
mm.
and they came out with that little, oh, they just go in and they just, so it's not a big deal, lap band surgery, whatever they called it. And it's so easy and simple. And so I did it. Well, I got a stomach infection from the surgery. And I
Ah,
spent the entire summer of 2014 in the I call it F and K hospital, JFK
mm,
hospital, in and out. They couldn't get rid of the infection. They couldn't figure out what kind of infection it was or if it was a
ah,
fungal thing. They had me not eat any food at all,
mm,
hooked up to an IV. All this for the sake of looking like people in the magazines, right?
ah,
Kids.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
I ended up, they finally, I had to leave there with a port and I had to go once a week to get antibiotics. And that was going to be
Wow,
my life. And I
wow.
lost weight all right, and I was losing weight, but I couldn't eat anything. So I
Mm,
finally found the right doctor. And I'm telling you this because it fits so with our stories together.
mm, mm.
And he said, okay, I'm going to take an x-ray. I want you to look at the machine. My husband was there. Take a sip of water. I took a sip of water and I watched it come out the side of my stomach. Yes. He said, we're going to do an emergency colonoscopy, endoscopy, the whole ball of wax. He said, and I won't do a regular one. I'm going to look everywhere. And you're coming back the day after. And I came back and he said, I have good news and bad news. I said, well, what's the bad news? The bad news is that you have holes and dead ends all through your stomach. You have fistulas, which are the holes. And then I have actual dead ends with food from my 1973
Oh my
still left
gosh.
in my body. Yeah. And he said, if you waited to see me, you'd be dead in 2 more weeks. That's how bad it was. And I
Wow.
said, okay,
Oh wow.
what's the good news? The good news is I can take care of it, but I have to remove 85% of your stomach and part of your colon. That was the good news.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
The good news that I was going to live. So
Right.
I went through a horrendous time of the operation, recovering from the operation. Took me a long time to get to eat normal again. Nothing tasted right. Um, but I'm glad to say that's 2014. This is 2025. That's 11 years, right?
11 years.
Yeah. And I am at my goal weight that I'm happy with. I don't want to be a pound less. I'm fine. I just have to eat smaller meals. And even if something tastes wonderful, out of this world, wonderful, and I say one more bite and I'm full and I take that one more bite, my stomach hurts.
Yeah.
Like my
Yeah.
stomach will not allow me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
don't we
Yes.
have a parallel?
We do. We do. We do have a parallel. And I just, I want to say this is just, God bless you for being here. I'm so sorry that you had to go through all of that. And I I I am. I will also say this is that I hear, Mimi, so many people talk to me about their experiences with bariatric surgery.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I will tell anyone, if you feel like you need to have the surgery, have it. I will say habit. I had surgery. I didn't have bariatric surgery, but I had way, way, way too many rounds of liposuction. But the other thing that I will also say is understand that it is not the answer.
No.
It is not a panacea. But depending on where you are, it may be the thing that you need to get you over a hump. I'll say if you feel like you need to take the drugs, if it's going to get you over the hump to get you from where you are to get you started, do it. But also understand that unless you do the mental work, you will have the surgery and you will still be miserable. You
Right.
will have the surgery and you will gain the weight back. If
Right.
you take the pills and you do not do the mental work, it,
Exactly.
it is not going to serve you.
That's
But
why I
in
said that addiction, because when I put down the alcohol, I just picked up another addiction. You
and
know.
so what I've you asked me earlier what I did. The clarity that I got about this
Mhm.
process is what has me the same size now as I was in 2019 when I lost the weight. Is that I realized a couple of things. Is that we live in a diet culture. We live with a diet industry that doesn't want us to know the truth. We
Mhm.
live in a we have a diet industry that wants to keep us focused on behavior and having surgery, taking the medication, what we eat, how we move. That is all behavior.
Mhm.
But if we do the mental work, that is belief system, if we do the work around our emotions, around our feelings, around our thoughts, around our beliefs, if we focus on changing those things,
Yes.
then our body will follow our brains and it will not be hard. It
Right.
will it will require some change. You'll have to be different. But we hear all the time, it's 80-20, 80% where you eat and 20% how you move. That I believe is a lie. It is 100% how you think. And so when you start to change your brain, rewire your thinking around
Right.
food,
Right.
then
And
then
here's
everything else follows.
you're right where I am because now everyone's so excited about these Ozempic drugs and everything. And I have people all around me that lose weight. And I'm like thinking to myself very quietly and in humbleness, honey, you might still be broken because just because you lost that weight that you think is your big problem, you did not go inward like you're talking about. And when I
Mm-hmm.
got sober and I still have my demons, okay, and I turned to food, and then I did bariatric. I went to in well, in treatment for food addiction in California.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they started talking about the inside and how you felt about yourself. And I also got diagnosed with chronic depression and anxiety disorder because I will send you a copy of my book, Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. So this
Mm-hmm.
started when I was a child, like 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the beginnings of what would become my demons. I call them my
Mm-hmm.
demons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me, I went to 9 years of straight counseling, 9 years,
Mm-hmm.
inpatient, outpatient, group, one-on-one, AA meetings, everything. And I still, when I was 5 years sober, got severely depressed and had to go somewhere to deal with the severity. And there, they really started getting at the root, the root. And
Mm-hmm.
it came from family of origin stuff, which a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times it does. It
Mm-hmm.
does. And things that happen to you when you're a child, which you might not even remember,
Yes,
or,
yes, absolutely.
or maybe you do remember, wish you could forget,
Yes.
and the way your parents treated you and the way your parents felt about you, and all these things had an effect on you that's so deep that it really takes work. You're right. It
Yes.
takes work.
Yes.
It
Yes.
does. I don't
Yes.
remember from 5 years old to 12. And a psychiatrist was going to hypnotize me, and he said he couldn't. I wasn't able to be. I was not, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be. That's why. And he said, your brain is protecting you,
Yes.
and let it go. You let
Mm-hmm.
those 7 years go. There's a reason,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're talking about here.
Yes, we're
Food.
there. There's so much parallel, Mimi, in our story.
Oh,
I
definitely.
went through years of therapy, thousands of hours, thousands of dollars, and I will say therapy helped me. Therapy helped me deal with a lot of childhood trauma,
Yeah.
right? Um, but it did not teach me to process my feelings around food,
Yes.
not in the way that I teach people. I mean, I teach people that have gone to therapy just like I have.
Yeah.
And what I realize is that it is things that we don't know how to do that are the things that will give us freedom
Hmm.
from food, that will give us the skill to manage food when we stop believing that we can have a relationship with it and we start focusing on our relationship with ourselves.
Yeah.
And when people say that they're an emotional eater, um, and most of the time people are talking about eating emotionally from a place of disempowerment, right? When they're looking for food to heal some sort of emotional
Or
place.
deaden, or deaden
Hmm.
feeling.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
or deaden the
Yes, yes,
feelings.
absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So, but the reality is we're all emotional eaters, right? We're all emotional eaters. We just have to figure out what the emotion is and decide what that emotion is,
Right.
because eating is an action. Eating is a behavior, and
Mhm.
before every action and every behavior, there is an emotion.
Yes.
So, if you're eating because of pride, if you're eating because of honor, then you're making some much different decisions than if you're eating out of guilt or eating out of shame or frustration or anger or any of those things.
Right.
Well, one of the things that I teach, once I figured that out,
Hmm.
emotions that are at the root of it, the way that I coach people is we spend a year transforming transforming our thoughts, transforming our beliefs, transforming our feelings. And once we do that, then we can manage food. We can dive deep into the skill of
Yeah.
mastering food. But
Yeah.
if you go through 52 different emotions, every week a different emotion, and what happens at the end of that 52 weeks, if you know what the emotion is, you know how to manage stress, you know how to manage anxiety, you're not afraid of fear or
Hmm.
anger, you're not afraid of frustration, you don't feel disempowered by that, but you know what to do,
Yeah.
then the feeling to eat goes away if you know how to navigate the emotion. So if
Exactly.
you navigate the emotion, then you can use food for what
Hmm.
it is really for, which is to nourish our brain. It's to
Yes.
nourish our bodies. It's for
Yeah.
nutrition. It's for all the things that the fast food companies, the snack food companies, and the junk food companies don't want us to eat for.
And talking about the childhood thing, how do you think childhood experiences shape our food stories?
Oh, that so I got to tell you something. Um, I just hosted an 8 day online retreat for people that are emotional eaters, and one of the people in the group said something that was so brilliant. And she said, we're walking around with our 5-year-old experiences guiding our 50-year-old bodies.
Yes.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it is
It's true.
absolutely it is absolutely
I guess,
true.
and I can tell you a funny quip here. Um, because of the trauma when I was 5, I did not go to kindergarten. And I am 76 going on 77. And to this day, every time I see one of those damn signs that says everything you needed to know you learned in kindergarten, I get so pissed off. It still
Like,
bothers me.
I don't know crap then.
But you know those signs, you see them every once, but I get
Yes,
like, or somebody says it in a
yes,
movie or whatever. I go,
yes,
"Mm-mm."
yes, yeah. I'll tell you this, like this quick story.
Yeah, go ahead.
The very first movie that I ever went to see was Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And back then, going to the movies was a very big deal. I mean, I remember getting dressed up like I was going to church, going
Yep.
to the movies.
Yep.
And before we went to the movies, we had dinner. right? We ate. So when we got to the movies, I was full. But as soon as we walked into the movies, I saw the people standing in line getting popcorn. And
Uh-huh.
so, and so I said, "Oh, I want some popcorn." And I was with my aunt who had taken me to the movies, and she said, "No, you don't. We just ate. You're not hungry. We just had dinner. You're not gonna get any popcorn. We just ate." But I'm like, everybody else is standing in line getting popcorn. And she said, You're not hungry. We're going in." So we went inside and we watched the movie, and left. And when I think back on that story, there's more to it. I realized that for years I wanted the popcorn, really not because I was hungry, but I wanted to do what I saw everybody else doing. I wanted the experience. I wanted the full movie experience. So
Yes.
we go back home, and then we have an occasion to go to the movies like a couple of weeks later. So what my aunt did was so beautiful. I love her for this.
That was
She
great of you, actually.
she popped some popcorn. She popped popcorn,
At
right?
home.
And put it at home and
Yeah.
put it in her purse, right? Because she heard
Yes.
me, right? I mean, she didn't want me not to have popcorn like everybody else. Maybe I really was hungry, so she was
And
going to take care of that. So when we got to the movies, I said what I did the last thing. They're standing in line with popcorn. I want some popcorn, and she says, "I have some popcorn in my purse. I got you, right?" And I said, "I don't want that popcorn. I want
uh-huh.
that popcorn,
Yeah.
right?"
Yep.
I wanted the experience. I wanted to be there.
We just had a little
Pour the
freezing.
butter over it. I wanted to be in line with
Okay. I'll fill in whenever you freeze. Yep.
about being
Yeah.
hungry. It was about the pleasure that came from being involved in all of that. And
Yes.
that's how the food marketers get us. That
Yeah.
that's how we get addicted. That's
Yeah.
how that's how the cycle happens. They make it part of the experience. Now
What do
I'm
you,
old.
what do you think about when you think about a movie and think about popcorn, even at
Absolutely.
home? We're gonna watch a movie at home. Go make the popcorn.
Make some
It's
popcorn.
the myth still goes that it has to
Right.
have popcorn with a movie, right?
Right. And then it has the salt on it, right?
Oh
And then it
yeah.
has the stuff on it that's not even butter. And then if you get the kettle popcorn, it has the sugar in it. And sugar, depending on what study you look at, is more addictive than cocaine. That's why they serve it in you go to the movies, they serve it in these giant buckets. And if you are of the mind that I spent my money on this, I'm going to eat it all because I paid the money for it,
Of
and I
course.
paid I paid $10 for it because it's more expensive at the movies than
It's
it
ridiculous.
is anyplace
Yeah.
else. So you've got the fact that it's a huge portion. You've spent
Mhm.
all of this money. Everything that they have put in it is addictive, and it is not even nutritious. It's not even food.
No. And
It
this
is
is the whole
entertainment.
point when with addictions. We're talking about an addiction.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And when an addict gives up alcohol, they crave sugar. And that's why I gained 50 pounds because to replace that alcohol feeling, I turned to sugar. And what was I doing? I was trying to numb feelings,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
So you're upset, you go get the ice cream out of the freezer,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And
And and
until
when you
you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so when the key for me, and the key that I teach people, I teach a formula, and I call the formula VAMP:
Okay.
visualization, affirmation, meditation, and prescriptive writing. That is writing for healing.
I
And
like
so
I like that. Say that
it,
again.
it is
Visualization.
visualization, affirmation, meditation, and prescriptive writing, which is writing for healing. And it is
I,
different than journaling. It is it
I
is it is it's some
like it.
it
Yes.
is some it is
Yeah.
some very specific writing prompts that get you to the emotions and get you to the healing, so you can get those feelings that we're trying to numb,
Exactly.
that we're trying to mask, that are
Exactly.
causing us discomfort. When we get them out of our head and get them on
Yes.
paper, then we can be released from them.
We are
Because
so, our journeys are so alike, even though we might look different. I mean, I'm probably the whitest white woman you're ever going to see. I,
Well,
I,
Mimi, I gotta tell you something. I've met a few whiter.
oh, good, good. But yeah, I just found out recently I was half Irish.
And I don't know. Do you know anybody with this bit with a fro this big? You might not.
Well, my church, yeah, there's a few. There's a
Okay.
few. But that's
Okay.
what I'm going to bring up. Our church is not a church, it's a spiritual community. And I'm bringing it up because meditation is a big, big, big thing in our community. And my minister, who is gay, by the way, you don't have churches with gay ministers. So this is not a church.
That's a whole nother conversation,
That's
right? Right.
a whole other conversation. That's why I have a podcast.
Right.
And when I get triggered by something, because I still do, and I call him and I go, Taylor, and he goes, okay, you need to take what you felt, sit with the feeling, and then once you're comfortable with what you're feeling and why you felt it, I want you to breathe, and then I want you to meditate. Okay. And to take that to the rest of the vamp, which I love that, my counselor, who I see once a week, because after 2020, I needed to go back into counseling. My
Mm-hmm.
husband has Parkinson's and I'm
Oh,
his
oh,
caregiver.
I'm so
Well,
sorry.
it's okay, but it's just that it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She said, write something. I said, I'm not a writer. She said, you don't even have to journal. She said, write whatever. Just go in your room for an hour every day and get on the computer. And I ended up writing my first book, which was my biography,
Mm-hmm.
which was Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you said your acronym VAMP, and I had to say it twice, that's exactly what I did.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I
Yes.
exactly kept doing because I've written 4 books since
Wow.
2020.
Wow. You are my hero. You're my hero. I'm I am thinking about my second, but I'm still pushing out that first book. And
Yeah,
you know, our doctors must have gone to the same medical school because that's what my doctor said to me
yeah,
after after I lost the weight. She was like, you know, right. Well, even while I was losing it, she said right. And I was like, ah, no, I'm not gonna write. And then when COVID hit, that's actually I actually wrote my book during COVID. But I wanna go back to this beautiful, wonderful ministry that you have
yeah,
and talk about this thing and tie it into this emotional eating and the
yes.
thing that we hear all the time
Mhm.
and where our truth is and where our healing is. We hear all the time that what we're dealing with is an eating disorder, the
Right.
disordered eating, right?
Yes.
And what I will say to you that that's not what it is at all.
No.
What it is a thinking disorder because before we ever eat, we have to think first. And if we deal with our thinking, then we will correct the eating. We can get that in line. And what meditation is exercise for the brain. We are not taught from kids. We're not taught
Yeah,
unless you live with my grandmother.
yeah,
We're not taught to meditate. We're not taught the power of meditation
yes,
because meditation is what allows us to control our thoughts about everything, about life, about stress,
yeah,
about emotions, about what's going on.
yeah.
And the food is
Stop.
key.
And
It's
when I say
key.
stop, it's because this is so fitting. My minister always says this is in theological terms. Your brain is a bullshit artist. Your brain is a bullshit artist. You have to go to your heart. You have to go inside. You have to feel the feelings. You don't feel the
Yes,
feelings in your head. You feel them in your heart, in
yes,
your core.
yes,
You meditate. You're not meditating in your head. You're
yes,
meditating in your heart.
yes,
Is that
yes,
exactly what you just
yes,
said? Yeah.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it is so
Absolutely.
true. It went the olden ways that when we were young and we were doing Jane Fonda exercises, which I might be older than you probably don't even know about them, but she had a tape with these exercises and eating certain types of diets and drinking they came out with diet soda and all that stuff. We were trying to solve this problem with our brain, you know? Uh-uh.
Mhm.
No, I wasn't going to counseling. I wasn't
Hmm.
talking to a minister. I wasn't writing any my feelings down. I
Right,
certainly wasn't meditating,
right,
right?
right.
Trying to use
Yep,
this. No,
yep,
down,
yep,
go down
yep,
lower.
yep. We gotta go. And so part
Deeper.
part of the problem, Mimi, is that when people say, I am, I've done the research, 75% of people say I'm an emotional eater, right? So that means I have a heart problem, right? I have an emotional problem. I have a spiritual problem. That's
Yes.
what my issue is. I don't know how to navigate these feelings. I don't know how to navigate these thoughts. I don't know how to navigate these beliefs. I'm afraid of them. I don't recognize them. I don't know what they are, but they guide us, they move us, right? This
Yeah.
unconscious stuff that is moving through us, and 75% of people will say that. But when we go to what the solutions are, the solutions are all about what you eat and how much of it, right? Here's how to move, here's a workout, here's a plan, here's surgery, here are pills, here are powders.
Mhm.
And the solutions don't solve what the real problem is.
Nope.
That's the crisis that we're in, is that people have a problem, and the solutions that are offered up on a wholesale basis are not visualization, are not affirmation, are not meditation, are
Nope.
not the prescriptive writing. And that's where the power is. That's where the solutions are. It is in these things. It's in the internal work. It's in the inside work. It's in the deep down work that we people are not taught to do, are
No.
afraid to do, don't know how to do. And as long the addiction you're talking about is when you keep trying to go to the food and other substances to
Yeah.
solve a problem that it will never solve. You
No.
keep trying to make it solve something that it will never solve.
Right. And this podcast is called Be Heard, Empower Yourself. So be heard means you're going to talk about things, right?
Mhm.
And, for me, I always love to talk, but when I was a child, it was, you're not to talk. Children are to be seen and not heard.
Mhm.
You were
Mhm.
not allowed to have a feeling or express it,
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
least in my house. And,
Yes.
I was very shy, believe it or not, at that time. But once I found that I had a talent and that I could write, because my first book got 5-star reviews and it was like people loved it. I got a lot of flack from some family members for writing the truth about
Mhm.
my life. And I said,
Mhm.
I wrote about my life. And if you're in the book at all, you're in the shadows. I don't write
Mhm.
about your stuff. Just that
Mhm.
maybe I'm related to you. That's about it. But doing that, I got such feedback from people that read that book that I realized it not only helped me, but it was showing other people, I thought just women, to be honest, that
Mhm.
there was another way to empower yourself and you didn't have to stay with an abusive husband and all the things I went through and how
Mhm.
I got out of it. And I'll tell you a real quick reason why that's not true. 2 years ago, I went to my eldest daughter's second wedding. She got remarried, and my 16-year-old grandson at the time had two friends there, two boys. And he said, "Do you want to meet my friends?" I said, "Sure." And I went over, and the one boy said hello. And the other boy turned around, blushing, and said, "Are you Condo Mimi?" Now that's my handle on the internet, Condo Mimi. And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "I can't believe this is happening." I'm thinking, what somebody walk in the door, some star, what the? And
Right.
my grandson started to laugh and he said, "Nana, he's your biggest fan. He bought your book, he read your book, and he follows you on Instagram." Now, that's a 16-year-old boy. I was so blown away by that I went home to Florida. The wedding was in Pennsylvania. And I was in the middle of writing a workbook on healing from trauma and abuse. And I had it directed towards women. I threw it in the garbage. I started over and I wrote it from the viewpoint of anyone that has been subjected to trauma or abuse.
Wow. Wow.
gay people, male, men, whatever. That boy made such an impression on me and changed my whole, perspective.
Yeah.
So I dedicated the book to him. So his friends tease him all the time that he's, my book
Oh,
is dedicated
oh,
to him.
that
Right.
is so, that is such a beautiful story. That is so, it's funny and beautiful and heartwarming, and it speaks to the fact that, you just write your truth. You write your truth, and it will land where it's supposed to land.
Exactly.
It will resonate with who it's supposed
Yes.
to resonate with.
Yes. It's not just
Changing
women's
lives.
problems, and that that will stay a lovely memory with me for the rest of my life. So let me ask you though. So for healing in the context of our bodies, when I went to the clinic for eating disorders, there were women there that were anorexic, and there were women there that were 500, 600 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the middle at my 250, 260, I
Mm-hmm.
was in the middle. And we were supposed to go on a trip. They took us on field trips to Disneyland, which would be lovely. Yeah, they're taking us to Disneyland. And this one woman that I got close to all of them, but she was crying and crying. She said, I can't go. I can't go. I can't go. I said, why can't you go? She said, look at me. Everybody's going to be looking at me. I said, really? Uh, okay, that's your reason for passing up Disneyland? I said, let me tell you something, girlfriend. I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to walk through Disneyland together and you're going to have a hell of a time. And she went. All she needed was a little support, just a little.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that's
Yes.
true. You find that
Yes.
true, sure.
Oh, absolutely. I find it true. And that is why I have built the community that I have built.
Mhm.
Because what addiction will tell you is that, A, you should be able to do this alone. And
Mhm.
if you can't do it alone, it's something wrong with you,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Exactly that, because addiction will get in your head. I have this whole series on how addiction lies to us. And we have these old stories about how we're supposed to be strong. But here's the and how and what happens over time is that you start to think it's you. You start to think it's your fault. You start not to trust yourself. And probably, I would say one of the first things I share with people when I kind of bring them into my world is that what you're dealing with is not your fault. It is not. It is not. Because you're taught to believe that you don't have any willpower, you don't have any self-control, you don't have any self-discipline. None of that is true. From before we are born, stuff is this addiction, this food is pushed on us. Why is there sugar in baby formula? Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
We are hit with advertising messages that tell us to eat when we're not hungry, to eat stuff that's not even food from the time we are kids. And we don't know it. We don't realize it's not. We don't realize that it's poison because it's being pushed off as something that tastes good. Everybody else is doing it, and we don't have the tools for it. These advertising companies spend billions of dollars. They know more about our brains and the neuroscience than we know about our brains ourselves. That's why it's so important for us to take our thoughts back, because they are programming to those feelings. They are programming to our hearts
Oh, yeah.
to make us eat stuff that's not even food because of their profit. And
Oh,
because we have been doing it for so long, we don't even know that it's not the truth. It looks like the truth, and it's on television. It must be the truth. That's what they say, right? The government says it's okay, right? It's in Whole Foods. It must be okay. All of that stuff. So it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you don't even know, because it is so insidious. It
yeah.
is. It is everywhere. It is
It is.
everywhere. They
It is.
make the they make it affordable. I'm right now. I'm at the I'm getting my car repaired. I think I told you, right?
Mhm.
And before I got on this call, I was working through a problem. I was trying to write something, the words weren't coming to me, and I was like in this space right here. And I looked up and I saw a vending machine. I saw the vending machine with all the snacks and stuff in
Hmm.
it. And I thought to myself,
Yeah.
in the old days, I would have just automatically gotten up and gotten two bags of whatever it was, because the first bag I wouldn't even taste because I was scarfed it down so quickly because the bags are,
Yeah.
the stuff is salty and it's made to be palatable, so you eat it very easily. And then, you still want the sensation, you want the pleasure. I
Yeah.
wanted, I would be getting it because I'm not consciously even thinking this. What I want is something pleasurable to distract me from the discomfort of not being able to figure out this thing that I can't figure out right now.
Yeah.
That, and it's just like so automatic and it's right there. And there's a vending machine with soda in it. I would have had all of that. And I'm not even hungry. I ate before I came here. I had a very nourishing breakfast, but it would have just been that. But here's the thing, Mimi. Just as I was having that thought that that's what I would have done in the old days and kind of reminiscing about it, the guy walked in and said, "Your car is ready." And now
Uh-huh.
I'm happy. And so in the space of like 10 minutes, you go through all those emotions. Now
Yes.
I'm happy. I'm not even thinking about, I wouldn't even been thinking about the food, and I would have been eating for no reason. Now,
Yes.
I mean, no reason
No,
whatsoever. And
no.
not only
Knee jerk reaction. It's
absolutely.
something like that. Yeah.
So
That's what,
so I
the thing about is, to, I just heard this the other day. Um, we're not silent enough. And it's so true. And the thing about meditation is silence. And this person said, and we're not kind enough.
yes.
And it's true.
Mhm.
And
Kind to ourselves.
yeah, exactly. And if you're not kind to yourself, you're going to be kind to everybody else. So I was resistant to meditation for a very long time. And now I'm better. I'm not what I would like to be, but I'm better. And I try to meditate every day. And my prayers at night end with, and be kind to everyone I meet. Those
Yes.
are my two, like, just little things that I do, a routine.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
true because we're, like you said, trying to think what you're going to write, how you want to put it into words. You know, maybe if you just sat there in silence and breathing and
Hmm.
meditating, it would just come to you, right? But
Hmm.
we were not trained to do that at any
Hmm.
point in our young lives.
Hmm. No, we're not.
No,
We're
we're
not.
not. No, we're not.
We're not. And so and a lot of this is, a lot of the work is, it, the workplace that we're in is learning what we have not been taught, and realizing that how we manage food, it is not some sort of moral failing. It's not moral failing. It just means that we haven't been given the skill, we haven't been given the information, and it is not in the best interest of the processed food manufacturers, the snack food manufacturers, the junk food manufacturers. It is not in their best interest for profits to tell us the truth. So
Yeah.
we have to get clear on what real food is and what real hunger is, what it feels like, to know the difference and understand that just because something shows up in our stomach, it's not hunger. It's not hunger, that other things show up there.
Yeah.
And that's okay, that we can sit with it, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you develop that muscle and that willingness to sit with the discomfort of something, that's where you find your truth.
That is true.
That's when you find your power,
That
to
is
know that, you can, it's okay to do that. And
true.
one of the things that has been so empowering for me, and when I speak or when I'm talking to people, when I'm coaching, and I said, no matter what you do, no matter if you don't get anything else from our meeting or from meeting or talking to me, understand this. This is something I do every day before everything I put in my mouth. And it is where your power is when you start to question things. I ask, is this food? Is this really food? And how do I know it? First
Hmm.
question. Am I hungry? Am I hungry or something else? Am I really hungry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I frustrated? Am I sleepy? Am I thirsty? What am I really feeling right now? Why this food now? Why this particular food right now? And
Hmm.
if this food will not give me the body, the health, the life that I say that I want, why am I eating it? Those four questions, I go through all four of them before I put a single thing in my mouth every day. And after you practice those four questions, you can do it in about 2 seconds.
That's
And
what I
it
was just
gives you
going to
the
say.
pause.
That's what I was just going to say. You have to, that's not going to happen automatically because
Mm-hmm.
you want it to. You have to practice that, just like with the meditation. I had to keep doing, okay, can we do 5 minutes? Then do 5 minutes. Okay. If thoughts come into your head, my minister would say to me, that's normal. Just let them go through.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them stop you. Just say, oh, I see that, and let it go through. And then
Mm-hmm.
you get to a point where, like you said, it's automatic. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
even have to go through the four questions.
Mm-hmm.
They're already gone through in a split
Mm-hmm.
second.
Mm-hmm.
God's-
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes one is enough, right?
Perfect.
Sometimes one is enough.
You
And
just look
and
at it
and
and go,
and sometimes, the and of those questions, I I think the most powerful question is, am I hungry or am I something else? Am I hungry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I what am I feeling right now? Because sometimes all you need to do is acknowledge
yeah,
what you're feeling in the moment.
yeah,
Give voice to it, give voice to your truth in the moment. And when you do it, it will subside, it will go away once you recognize it, once you name it. And even once you name it, that doesn't even mean that you have to deal with it in the moment. You can say, oh, this is what I'm dealing with, I'll come back to that. But what you do know in that moment is that it's not hunger. You know that food is not the answer. And when you get clear that food is not the answer, and that it is only the answer to hunger, the only problem
yeah,
it solves is hunger, its only purpose is nutrition and nourishment, then you can navigate those other things.
exactly.
So that clarity is so powerful.
Clarity. And you have to be a student before you can be a teacher. And I say that because, like my book, the experiences I went through. I married for the third time, but I married, let's see, I got to get this right. He gets mad when I get it wrong. 37 years, 37, something like that. Who's
Uh-huh.
counting?
Mhm.
But the first two, they're lucky they lived because they were so bad. They're so bad. But I had to go through all those horrible things. Like people that read my book that know me today say, oh my God, I can't believe that that was your life until you were like 40 something years old because you're always happy. You always have a smile on your face, all these things. And I said, well, I had to go through those things because I believe everyone is born with a purpose
Yes.
and that
Yes.
your life, the first part of your life is having experiences that lead you to your purpose.
Hmm.
And then when you're clear, you realize what your mission is, what your
Yes.
legacy is going to be. And
Yes.
you and I are on that path.
Absolutely. Oh, that is so beautiful, and that is so much the truth. And I
Yes.
and I, Mimi, here's something, another thing that became really clear for me. And I do workshops around this as well, around this purpose and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
is that so often our purpose and our mission is in our experiences, in the pain of those experiences, and
Yeah.
coming out with healing on the other side.
Right.
if
Exactly.
we if we use anything, whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, any sort of substances, to cover up that pain, to mask that pain, to prevent that pain, to block it,
Mm-hmm.
then that means, or even delay our going through it, that means we never get to what our real purpose is. If
Exactly.
we are using food to mask the emotion, to mask the feeling, to avoid it, not deal with it, and not go through it,
Yeah.
then we never get to the other side of it to where our purpose is.
Yep.
And that is such a tragedy. That is
Yeah.
such a tragedy. And it's that and it is our truth. I mean, we're a spirit being. We are a spirit
We
being.
are. And I feel blessed because going through whatever hell I went through, um, today, if I didn't have all this experience and didn't have the need to share it in order to help other people, I used to say other women, now I say other people, human beings. And I don't know how I would be handling my situation as a caretaker with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Because with Parkinson's, and he has the type that progresses, he's in stage 4, and I'm in the process of getting him into a program because when he reaches stage 5, he's not going to a nursing home. I'm not sending him to a nursing home. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a planner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always way ahead of the game. I have
Mm-hmm.
a reputation for that. And I am like already doing it. And it took months. It's taken months. But I see little dementia, things like that. And but you know what? That's okay because this gives me the light to carry me through the darkness of what I'm going through now. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how I feel. It brings me joy, and I love him, and we still are able to have a very nice life together. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
preparing. They always say, um, hope for the best, but
Mm-hmm.
prepare for the worst.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, this has
Yes.
been a lovely conversation. We could have our own show every week. I'm telling you,
I think we could.
I know we could. But
I think
you are working on something, as you said. And what is that? Your upcoming project.
yeah. So I always let me say this. I always have a retreat coming up. Every 2 months, I host what I call a mind over meals retreat, and it's
Okay.
I do a free 8 day online retreat around different topics related to our emotions and food and how to manage that, how to navigate that, how to reclaim our power. The one that I have coming, I just finished this
Had
one
one.
in
Yeah, I tried. I wanted to go to that, but the timing didn't
Oh, you
work.
know what? I will send you the replays.
Oh, that'd
I,
be wonderful. I'd love that. Thank you.
I'm happy to send you
Oh, I'd love that.
send you the replays.
And I might get
Um,
another show out of watching. When I watch them, I might come back to you and say,
okay,
let's talk about
okay,
this.
okay.
Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah,
We can
that
do
would be
that.
lovely. Okay.
So I'll send you I'll send you the replays and
Okay.
the name of that series, that retreat was The Weight of Silence, the Power of Truth. That was that series. The
That's
one
what
that's
I'm
coming
talking
up in
about. I'm
September.
just talking about that now. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. The power of
Um, the one that's coming up in September is about what I talked about earlier. Is called Hijacked, and
mm,
it's how marketing and advertising has hijacked our minds and our beliefs about what to eat and when.
absolutely.
That it's I mean, I think about this. Just look at the signs. You look at the signs of the fast food signs. Almost all the fast food signs have either red or yellow in them. Red or yellow.
Mm,
There's a
mm.
reason for that because those
Yes.
colors stimulate appetite.
Yes. Yeah.
Those colors stimulate appetite. The signs that say hot and ready, buy now. But so there is a difference between actually being hungry and having a desire to eat.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that,
They're
right?
seducing us.
Hmm.
They're trying to seduce you.
Absolutely. Not
Not even
trying, they
hungry.
are.
Yeah, I
Not
know.
try, they are, right? They are.
Yeah.
So so we're going to spend 8 days on the marketing or on the neuroscience of
Very good.
right what
Very
what it because you'll see plenty of stuff that on the front of the packages that will say a healthy source of something, and then
yeah.
you turn around on the back and you start reading all the ingredients that you can't read, and then sugar is the second ingredient, and you're like, well, I'm not eating
How
that.
is that healthy? Right. I
Yeah,
know.
how is that healthy, right?
Yeah. I know.
So we have to we have to see the manipulation, we have to see the lies.
Yeah.
So that retreat is coming up in September. We're doing 8 days in September.
I'm going to put that on the show notes at the end so people
Okay.
can
All right.
do
And
that.
that's free.
Okay.
And in that retreat, we do the work. I mean, this retreat isn't just, me talking for an hour. I take people through the visualization, through the affirmations, through the meditation. I give them writing prompts. And I do this for a very specific reason, because I want people to understand the work that's involved, and if they want to go deeper, right? If they want to go deeper, they can. I want to support them, but people have to be ready and know and not be surprised, but also understand what joy it is in doing that work. A lot of people don't want to do it because they haven't experienced the community that we talked about of
Now
it.
I'm going to
When we
ask
do
you a
it online.
question. You're so busy. You're busy, and that's good. It's good busy. But now,
Yeah.
if I send you my book, are you going to have time to read it?
Absolutely.
And the
Absolutely, I
reason
will.
I want to ask you that is I think after I watch your TED Talk and the series you send me, and you read my book, we are going to come up with a hell of a lot of topics. And we could do a lot of shows. Okay. So it's a deal.
Let's
Right.
do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
I'll send you the book. You send me your show. Well, this was
Okay.
great. I don't know about anybody else, but I had a great time with my
I
new
did too.
friends, Michelle.
Yeah, we got to revisit it. We got it. We got to up level this. We got to take it to the next level. We can
So
do that.
I am going to send you material. You're going to send me, and then we're going to get back with an even deeper
Okay.
broadcast. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thanks, Michelle, again for coming. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
I have two. And
Okay.
Mimi, thank you for holding the space for this conversation and all the other conversations that you hold, because they're so, so, so important. This
They
work
are.
is just beautiful.
Anytime two people can talk about things that are important, which is the truth. We're talking about
Yeah.
truth.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Have a truthful day and be kind to everyone you meet.